Very good morning to all of you. Very good morning. And this morning comes with again one more session of IELTS, and it is all about reading. So this time I am supposed to give you the reading module and the description of how we need to go with different types of questions. Well, before starting, let me introduce myself. This is Shweta Gandhi from OSIS Group, an IELTS trainer here, and we work so hard on it so that on IELTS specifically, so that we need to know where the students are not getting the things, where the students are not getting the appropriate type of question, and what is happening when they are getting the question but they are not grabbing the answer, specifically in reading, and that too in academics. Of course, academic reading is one of the bizarre, I can say, because here in this type of reading many students face problem. Why they are facing problem? They know how to read, they know how to understand, comprehend the thing, but because of the tricky part of the reading module, for example, if you are feeling that answer is maybe false, your answer is actually not given, or you can say somewhere down the line, specifically match the headings are very tough, because you know that this passage is talking about this thing, but ultimately you are ending yourself by looking at just one line, that okay, this paragraph is talking about this, and you just quote that line by matching the keyword or vocabulary to the match the heading part. So ultimately what I am telling is, you just mess up the things by getting the understanding of the reading but by not getting the proper understanding of getting the answer. So in this session I'll let you know how to go by proper understanding. I only focus that I always focus that students need not to answer the things directly by looking at the first paragraph, just the first paragraph. In fact, I would say you need to read the first paragraph properly, but after that you need to read the second, third paragraph also. But many students who are very quick reader, I urge them to read the full paragraph, so that if any of the lines in any of the type of question you are not getting, you'll be able to help it out by yourself. But for the readers who are very slow in reading, they do not know how to read properly in a good pace, so maybe for them I recommend skimming and scanning. But yes, indeed it is very important at least to read the things. Every paragraph is telling you something different, every paragraph of your reading is telling you something different. For example, take the example of nuclear reactor. If any of the topic of yours is coming as nuclear reactor, what happens in the whole paragraph? Will it only talk about the definition of it? No, it will cover everything about nuclear reactor. Like the first paragraph will be the introduction, what nuclear reactor is and how it is working. So ultimately the paragraph number 1 is what nuclear reactor. The paragraph number 2, maybe it consists of how it is working. The paragraph number 3 is the processing, how it is made. The paragraph number 4 is the difference between the past and the present reactors, right? The reactors which we used in the past and the reactors we use in the present. So ultimately I am saying that every paragraph is telling you something different story. So it is not like just you need to read. First of all, it is very important at least to understand what your paragraph is telling you. But before that, there is one also important task, that read the topic properly. If you are reading the topic properly, then you can understand, and then your mind will work that okay, this is my topic, nuclear reactor. For an example, I am telling you. So if it is nuclear reactor, So ultimately now your mind starts working, understanding the concept, but for that read the first paragraph also, so that you understand what is nuclear reactor. Then after that, in the paragraph second, you feel that okay, it is all talking about the working of nuclear reactor. So ultimately, after reading the first paragraph, you are getting the gist that this is all about the definition of it. The second paragraph, starting 2 lines, 3 lines, if you are reading properly, if you are skimming it, you find that yes, it is talking about the working process of this. The third paragraph is talking about the comparison of the reactors that we used in the past and now we are using in the present. And the fourth paragraph may be talking about the reactors which we used in future. Okay, it's a prediction that modern nuclear reactors will be like this. How we can judge it? It is only by reading starting 3-4 lines of every paragraph. Okay, it is very simple. So today I am giving you the description that we are going to cover 2 types of questions this time. The first is match the heading. Match the heading is of course a task that you need to cover. Every time I tell my students that what you need to do, it's only simply go with reading 3-4 lines starting and ending of each paragraph. It will help you out. The point number 1 is you need to read 3-4 lines of the starting. If you are finding that okay, this is talking about this, just go to the match the heading, understand the task and just give the part, okay, give the answer. If you are not finding, read the last 3 lines of the paragraph. Again, if you are not finding, read the mid part of the paragraph. Ultimately, reading is important. So now it is somebody says that if you want to know the capability of your brain, if you want to understand that how good cognition you have, or if you want to know that how intelligent you are, it just depends on how you are reading or how much you read. So an ideal reader must read around 3.5 hours a week. It is important for them. Why? Because it is very important. If you are reading, you are getting the thoughts. You are reading, you are getting the vocabulary. You are reading, you are getting the knowledge. Ultimately, reading is very important, and you have this handful amount of reading. Of course, it will help you in your getting desired band scores. Okay, so let's jump into the strategies. Find out how I can go with the match the heading, what specifically the do's you need to follow. Okay, so let's begin with our reading part, and our first presentation is general tips. Okay, so general tips is all about how you can go with it. So before the exam, make sure you're familiar with the instructions for the different question types, so you can quickly glance at the questions, know what to do. Okay, so this is very, very important. Now again, there is one catch in it. Always read the instructions carefully. Okay, you might get different types of questions, of course you will get, but you might get different types of instructions also. Number 1 instruction is, if you're finding, fill up the blanks. And before giving the answers to that type of question, make sure you have properly read the instruction, like how many words you need to fill. The first thing is this, means no more than 1 word, no more than 2 word, no more than 3 word, etc. The next type of instruction you will be receiving is NB, capital letter NB, that is instruction, that is called nota bene. It is specific instruction. This is for, like, you can use the answer or letter more than once. The sentence is saying you can use the answer more than once, you can use the letter more than once. That means you can repeat your answer in that type of question more than once. So the instructions are very, very important. Okay, so read the instruction, take this, make this as a habit that always you're reading the instructions carefully. The second thing is read as much as possible. Of course, I gave you the thing that always it is important to read the questions carefully. The next thing is work on your reading skills, such as guessing the meanings of unknown words, understanding reference words in texts, and reading quickly. Now, the third thing is work on your reading skills, such as guessing the meanings of unknown words. Now, if I am telling you the thing that you need, if you are reading, many of the students face problem that I do not know the vocabulary, how will I go further with it without understanding the meaning of the word, right? So this is all myth. I can say, for example, we as a trainer, we can say that we are not universal. We are not universal having our words in our mind. All the words we are not getting in our minds get fit. So ultimately what happens, somewhere down the line we also feel that yes, maybe this word is not striking to me. What happened then? We read the sentence, then according to the sentence we get the crux, whether this word could be positive or negative. How can we justify the thing? I can read the text, I can understand that okay, the whole sentence or the whole paragraph is positive, means it is giving me the positive tone. Of course the word would be positive. Okay, so understand the tone of the paragraph rather than focusing on the vocabulary of it, that I am not getting it, it is striking me, it is not striking, and I'm getting confused, I do not know, I'm getting worried. Don't worry, understand the tone. This is important, and by getting the tone, it will be helpful to you to understand at least the slight meaning of it. For example, if I'm saying eating junk food is harmful for health, okay, it's a normal definition. Eating junk food is harmful for health, but in my paragraph it is like it is detrimental. It is detrimental. Now I am like, stop, what is detrimental? I do not know the meaning of it. No, if I'm saying like eating junk food is detrimental to health, now I can say like eating junk food dash health. Of course it deteriorates, it is harmful, it is not fit. So ultimately what my conscious will give me the answer is it is harmful. So detrimental is harmful. So always I'm telling you the basic thing. Why today? Because reading is not all about match the heading, true, false. If you understand the basic clarity, if you have in your mind, then only you can go for the further tasks. Okay, so let's again continue the thing. Okay, so work on this, and the next part is types of questions. You know, if you are okay with the types of questions, of course half of the battle you already won. For example, multiple choice questions, I will make sure that by next time I will take the question module on the basis of multiple choice questions. I'll definitely make sure I will have some this presentation with you people on multiple choice questions. It's very important and it's very tough also. Second, identify information. You need to identify by one word and anything. The third type of question is identifying writer's view and claims, what writer is saying and what he is claiming. So again it is a kind of match the heading. The fourth is matching information. You need to match information, like which particular information belongs to which paragraph. Then matching headings. Of course it is indeed a very common type of question that students need to come out with. The sixth is matching features. Again matching is all about matching everything. Matching sentence endings. Yes, complete your sentence. So complete your sentence means they will give you a sentence, half sentence, and they'll give you further in a table or in a box, they will give you further different sentences. Now match or and complete it. Then sentence completion, then summary completion, then note completion. Again it is all time completion. Then diagram, label completion. The most important type of question is true, false, not given. Okay, so true, false, not given is again one of the important types of question, and the next part of it is yes, no, not given. Okay, so these are the different types of questions you might get in your examination. The most important type of question you will be facing is match the heading, fill up the blanks, true, false, not given, and yes, no, not given. Okay, the next is, let's begin with our first type of question, that is called matching headings. Why we keep on taking such type of question? Because we make sure that yes, you are going good with this part, yes, you can understand this part, yes, you are understanding the things what we try to convey. Because of this, we keep on taking such important type of question to make you or to help you out in order to achieve the desired bands. So the first is, what we need to go for match the headings. The first is skim the article. There is a difference between skimming and scanning. The skimming part is ultimately you need to read the 2 lines and 3 lines of the starting and the ending of the paragraph. The next strategy is scanning, where you need to read the mid part of the paragraph in a very speedy manner. So this is skimming, is all about just read 3-4 lines so that you will get the idea of each paragraph, what it is telling, as I told you in the beginning of our presentation. So next, check the list of headings. Now after doing this, you can check the list of headings and underline the things also. Check the list of headings is all about underline the keywords of the heading so that it will be in your mind. Then look for the topic sentence. What is topic sentence? The skimming part will help you to find out the topic sentence. Okay, so what is topic sentence? Topic sentence means what the paragraph is telling you. It will be very much clear to you, and every paragraph, the beginning line will tell you something that what the paragraph is all about. Compare the headings and paragraphs. Critical thinking is required. Never go for one word answer or one line answer. At least read it properly and identify it. The rational thinking is very important, and eliminate the others. So ultimately we have 4 steps. Step 1 is glance at the headings. It is very important to glance, read the paragraph. The second type of the thing is, see, we have 2 strategies. Either first skim the article and check the list of heading, or you can go to first glance the headings and read the paragraph. What I do is, I first go and check my list of headings and underline the important keywords. This is my strategy, what I follow. The step number 3 is summarize the paragraph and try to get the gist. Please do not go for vocabulary specific. Do not go for the need of getting the vocabulary or the synonym of the word that you are looking in the headings. No, underline and find out what the paragraph is telling you all about. Is it talking about only technology, or is it talking about the whole processing, how internet works? Okay, for an example I'm telling. So step 4 is pick up the suitable heading. Now there is one thing, suggestion I want to give, like do one paragraph at a time, not rush behind the things like I can do 1 or 2 or 3 I can do with the amalgamation of that. No, match ideas to ideas and not words to words. It is very important, student, that please match ideas to ideas. I am again telling you the same thing. Don't go for finding the vocabulary in order to match to the headings. Don't. It is important to match ideas, not words. Read the first and last sentence of the paragraph carefully, but it is very important to read the first 2 lines, I can say, because first 2 lines are very important because it is giving you the skimming part, helping you to find out the topic. Therefore, it is very important. Solve this type of question first. I always do this type of question first. Why? Because it helps me to give the whole understanding of the paragraph so that I can solve the rest of the questions. If there are 2 or 3 headings that are similar, write them beside the paragraph and try to find out the difference between the 2 headings. What I do is, if I am stuck with many students, like they feel maybe this will be the answer or this. I'm confused between the two. Many students like, ma'am, it is like D or A. I am confused. I have written D, but my mind was telling me A, and ultimately the answer is A, but I have written D. So this happens with students, like they are confused between two answers. What you need to do is, number one, you can write both the headings in beside your paragraph. Number one thing. Why I am telling you this is, if you are writing it now, again match the thing. Is this talking about the first one or talking about the second? Now you are very close to the answer, A or D, for example. So now, after getting the crux that your answer is maybe A or D, what you can do now, match the vocabulary. The first thing what you have done is, you have matched the ideas. You have found out two answers. Now you have written these answers beside the paragraph. Now it is important to understand the vocabulary part. If you are stuck with the two things, go with the vocabulary. It will definitely give you the answer. Okay, maybe for example, the population is increasing with exponentially, and there was less population. So population, ultimately I'm stuck with A and D, and the population, less population and increased population. Now population is my main funda. After reading the paragraph again, I am finding, no, it is not talking about the rise of population. In fact, it is talking about population, the less number, right? The less number of thing. So ultimately now I am getting like less and decrease is matching. Therefore, the answer is D1 or A1 according to your thing. Okay, so ultimately this is important part that go with the vocabulary after understanding the idea of the paragraph. So let's begin. Let's start with our practical implementation. It is all theoretical knowledge. Unless and until you practice, you do not find the correct way of getting the answer. So let's begin with the thing. You have your first paragraph with you. Now what is it? It is all about Alan Macklin, Professor of Anthropological Science at King's College, Cambridge, has, like other historians, spent decades wrestling with the enigma of Industrial Revolution. Now this line is telling me he was struggling with the enigma of Industrial Revolution. Why did this particular Big Bang, why it happened, the world changing birth of industry happen in Britain, and why did it strike at the end of the 18th century? Now students, this is your time to give me the correct answer, because in this way I will help you out to identify the right answer. The time is ticking out. You have only 30 seconds to give me the answer. But before starting, before understanding the paragraph, just understand that first important part is to read the list of headings. Let's read how we can read and how we can go through it. The first point is the search for the reasons for an increase in population. Now there is a search. What are my keywords? Search, reasons, increase, population. So I have 4 keywords. There is a search of reason or for the reasons, increase population. The second is industrialization and fear of unemployment. So both things are happening in it. Industrialization is happening in the paragraph, and unemployment fear is also there. Okay. The third is the development of cases in Japan. There is a development of cities in Japan. The development of cities in Japan. So the Japanese cities are developing. Next, the time and place of the Industrial Revolution. Somewhere we are focusing on time and place in one paragraph. The next is the cases of Holland, France and China. The cases of Holland, France and China. The next is changes in drinking habits in Britain. So somewhere the drinking habits, we found changes. Next, 2 keys to Britain's Industrial Revolution. There are 2 important factors that are very much significant for Britain's Industrial Revolution. The next is conditions required for industrialization. Conditions required and the next is comparisons with Japan lead to answer. Okay, so ultimately now I have something in my mind. Now if I'm reading my paragraph A, I can find that the person is struggling with the enigma of industrial revolution, and he is asking himself why this is happening in Britain only, and why this happened in 18th century only. So ultimately you can feel that it is talking about something, place and time, right? So ultimately my answer would be 4. See, my answer is 4, the time and place of the industrial revolution. So here I did not require the reading of that 1-2 lines, because the first 2 lines were not giving the answers, because it was just giving the description of a person. So he was a professor, and he spent decades wrestling with the thinking of the answer of getting how industrial revolution began in Britain, and why it happened in 18th century only. So that is why the answer is the time and place. Okay, so therefore you can also see the next headings also, where you will not find anything related to this. He was only asking the question why it happened there. Okay, so there was no surge of population, there was no fear of unemployment. We are not talking about Japan or any countries or drinking habits or 2 important keys, nothing like that. So ultimately my answer is time and place. Now the next question is, Marfin compares the puzzle to the combination lock. There are about 20 different. Now as we are continuing with our next paragraph, and it is very important for you, so please do not break the thought by reading the next paragraph. Always connect yourself with the first paragraph also. Now your first paragraph was talking about why it happened in Britain and why it happened there in 18th century. So ultimately what happened is, industrial revolution is there. Now we are continuing with the B paragraph. Marfin compares the puzzle to a combination law. There are about 20 different factors. Now Marfin was puzzled, okay, and the later discoveries found out that there are about 20 different factors, and all of them need to be present before the revolution can happen. Now this is very important. What he was saying, there are about 20 different factors, and all of them need to be present before the revolution can happen. So now he was thinking that how revolution happened. So he got the answer that there were 20 factors which were very important at the time of revolution, and all need to be present there. He says, now students, my students, what they do, they read further and they end with another thing. I'll tell you how. Now if I'm reading further, you can find that different countries are also there. See, let's continue. For industry to take off, there needs to be the technology and power to drive factories. Okay, these are the important factors. Large urban population to provide cheap labor. So these are the factors he is talking about. Now if you can see, you can come to the while part. While this was the case for England, other nations such as Japan, Netherlands, France also met some of these criteria but were not industrializing. Now many students feel that, okay, we are talking about Japan, Netherlands and France. So ultimately and Holland is also there at last. Okay, so you ultimately end yourself with the answer number 5, because you feel, okay, we are talking about different countries, therefore my answer would be 5. That means cases of this. But no, what you have read here, he was telling that what my skimming part is saying me, that we are in my body para 1 or in my paragraph number 1, what I read is industrial revolution happened. Now my second paragraph is telling me there are 20 factors which are very important to me, or which are very important before the industrial revolution began. So ultimately these are 20 factors, and 4 or 5 factors he explained. But now he compares the other countries with the England, and he said that while this is the case in England, but this is not the case in other countries. because, and although they have some of the factors, but these were not industrializing. So ultimately he is just comparing, he's not saying anything about the countries and the cases. Okay, and now if you can feel that you are talking about the cases, no, we are talking about the 20 important factors. We are not focusing on countries, we are focusing on, there are 20 factors which are important for England, and somehow they were important for other countries, but they were not industrializing. So my main focus is 20 important factors. Now you can see and give me the answer, that what would be the answer. The answer is this one: conditions required for industrialization. Condition required for industrialization. See, conditions means factors, important conditions, and these are all required for industrialization. Means if you want to go for industrialization, these are the factors you have to be in your hand. Okay, so ultimately many students write, ma'am, answer is 5, or I'm not getting the answer, I feel that the answer, no, answer is not 5, because they are not talking about the cases of Holland, France and China. They are just comparing these factors between England and these countries. Okay, so my important thing is factors, not the countries. Now let's read the next one. The missing factors he proposes are to be found in almost even kitchen cupboard. Tea and beer, two of the nation's favorite drinks, fueled the revolution. Now if you can read these lines, automatically you feel that the answers, you got your answers. The two important things that you can find in almost any kitchen cupboard, and this is tea and beer. So ultimately you can see the answer number, no need to read further, because it has given me the sure fact that these two factors or drinks fueled the revolution. Okay, so the answer would be, you can see I'm just skimming it. If I'm skimming, means I'm getting 3 lines, 4 lines of my paragraph, I'm getting my fact. Okay, this is talking about this. So it will help you a lot, students. So answer is 2 keys of Britain's industrial revolution. Okay, so see how easy it is, easy it is. If you go with this strategy, definitely you will get your bands. Okay, let's go for the last one, and this time I hope that you will give me the answer in the comment section. I want that you need to give, it is important. Okay, so let's begin with the next part. Macflynn had wondered for a long time how the Industrial Revolution came about. Like, he was wondering, of course, he was puzzled. Historians had alighted on one interesting factor around the mid-18th century. Now, historians had given some information that required explanation. Now, what is that? What was the thing that historians had alighted one interesting factor? Let's begin to read. Between about 1650 and 1740, the population in Britain was static. Means in 1650 and 1740, between that the population was static, but then there was a burst in population growth. Okay, so there was a burst, and suddenly you found that the population was increasing exponentially. Now this was the fact that historians told to Macflynn, that this case was there, that suddenly it explored, but then there was a burst in population growth. Macflynn says the infant mortality rate halved in the space of 20 years. It got down, and this happened in both rural areas and cities and across all classes. Now, this is just the fact that historians gave to the Macflynn. Now, still I'm not getting my result, because I'm not coming to my main point. Now, after it, see, people suggested 4 possible causes. Now, they suggested also the causes behind that, why population increased. Was there a sudden change in viruses and bacteria around? Question number 1, or the reason number 1. Unlikely, was there a revolution in medical science? Question number 2. But this was a century before Lister's revolution. Was there a change in environmental conditions? Ultimately, he is asking for the reasons why it happened. Why it happened. So can I say point number 1? See, you can match keyword also the population. And the second thing is the search for the reasons. Why the search for the reasons? Okay, so the answer is 1. The search for the reasons. Why answer is search for the reasons? Because it is clearly observed that we need to find out the reasons why population increased at an alarming rate. So ultimately the search for the reasons is your right answer. Another thing is no more any of the heading is matching to the population increase and all. Okay, so here we have completed with our one part of question, that is called match the heading, and in this way I have given you a very brief sample answers, but a very detailed idea how to go with your getting answer strategy. Okay, grab your answers in that way, in the way that please you go for skimming and scanning. Okay, so let's begin with the next thing, and the next thing is fill up the blanks. I found many students of reading, specifically general students also, and of course academic students do have problems with it, but I found many students of mine, they all time facing problems with such things that, ma'am, I'm not able to understand how we can get out, how we can catch the answers, or how we can catch the answers from the paragraph we have. So ultimately it is the thing that we cannot go out okay with. So ultimately what happens is we choose the wrong answers. We feel the answer would be this, but because of the absence of mind or something we are not catching, so therefore it is important so to do this kind of question, because fill up the blanks, it's important how to catch the answer. Okay, so let's begin. The first thing I want to tell you is always go first for the instructions. Read the instructions carefully. Okay, so let's read. What is my instruction? It is one word and or a number. Okay, so and or a number. So read the instruction, it's one word only. Okay, now let's begin with our part. What the first thing in the fill up the blank is, if you have given the option like you need to write only one word, that means you need to only write one word. Now you have to search for, like reading first line, like here's Rossi was born in 1959. Now you can see, you can find out that everything from the question to the paragraph, everything will come in the paraphrase, the synonyms of the sentences. Okay, so yes, here's Rosie was born in 1959. In the paragraph, if the whole paragraph, you need to first find 1959. Okay, after getting 1959, now read, he worked as both a military and dash pilot before focusing on his ambition of becoming a jet powered flying man. Now he worked as both. He worked as both means two types of work he did. First, let's read the paragraph. Rosie, who has been labeled the Birdman, was born in 1959 in Switzerland. So this completed my line. After flying planes for the Air Force from the ages of 20 to 28, means he flew planes for the Air Force, so ultimately military, right? And he went on to do a job as a pilot. Okay, pilot, he like second one is pilot, but I have one blank in it, right? So what that one, as a pilot with a commercial airline from 1988 to 2000. Now give me the answer. What could be the answer? So just identify what could be the answer. Giving you just 10 seconds because I have already underlined the things. You have to find out the answer from it only. Can you quote the answer? Anybody? Yes, the answer is from the red line only. Give the answer. Anybody? Rosie, who has been labeled the Birdman, He was born in 1959. After flying planes for the Air Force from the ages, he went on to do a job as a pilot with commercial airline from this. So the answer is commercial. So the answer is commercial. So here's Rosie was born in 1959. He worked as both a military and commercial pilot. Okay, before focusing on his ambition. So this is what my thing is. Okay, so the next, can we go with the next question number, that is 32. Okay, first he asked a firm. Now before focusing on his ambition of becoming a jet-powered flying man, I'm talking about the question. Now first he asked a firm which made dash planes. Now if you can read that thing, in May 2008, he stepped out an aircraft about 3,000 meters. Within seconds he was soaring and driving in this. His speed was monitored by a plane flying out alongside. Rosie started his flight with a freehold, then he powered 4 jet turbines, You can say that initially he had approached a company called Jet King Kit, which specialized in miniature planes. But the wings they made for him weren't rigid enough to support the weight of the engines. So first means initially he asked a firm which made dash planes, which planes the company made, Jet King. Initially he had approached a company called Jet King which specialized in miniature planes. So I suppose you are having your answer. Yes, the answer is miniature planes. So answer is miniature, because they were specialized in making miniature planes, and he is saying first he asked a firm which made, ultimately the answer is miniature planes. Now but the wings they made, so to construct some wings for him, so answer is wings, because construct and made, again the paraphrase. Okay, so you got your answer 33 also. So the 31st answer is commercial, 32nd answer is miniature, 33rd answer is wings. Let's move on to the next part. Okay, the 34th, the second company he approached was able to help him, however, on a flight in May 2008. Now you have to find out where is in May 2008, and you can see that in the starting of the paragraph you can find this. In May 2008 he managed to achieve a top speed, now what, easily exceeding the speed achieved by the average dash. Now he achieved a top speed of, now we want something, because my instruction is one word and or a number, so I can write a number also with the word. So in May 2000, let's read the paragraph. In May 2008 he stepped out of an aircraft at about 3,000 meters. With seconds he was soaring and diving at over 290 km per hour, at one point reaching 300 km per hour, about 104 km per hour faster than this typical falling skydiver. So the 34th answer is my 300 km per hour. Yes or no? Yes, because the top speed he came across was 300 km per hour. And the next is easily exceeding the speed. Okay, exceeding the speed by 104, achieved by the average. Who had achieved this faster than the typical falling skydiver? So answer is the second company approach was able to help him on a flight and managed to achieve top speed of this, easily exceeding speed achieved by the average skydiver. That's it. So answer is skydiver. Okay, so in this way you can go with, in this way you can deal this thing. Okay, so you can see that the answers are here: commercial, miniature, wings, 200 kilometers, skydiver. Okay, so I think that you have to be very keen. You should be, right? You have to be very concentrate. You have to concentrate, because it is very important to identify the things, because everything will come in the paraphrase condition. Okay, everything will become in the paraphrase form. So go with it, understand the task, and identify where you are lacking. If anything you are not concentrating, that means you are not getting the thing. The one thing is, in particular fill up the blanks, make sure that you are focusing specifically on paraphrase. Now paraphrase is something you have to be familiar with, that is called synonyms of the part. Synonyms are very important, specifically in fill up the blanks. In fill up the blanks, what I did was, now initially in the paragraph it was firstly or first, then we can say that the top speed, so he was like he reaching to the maximum, that means 300 km per hour. Then the next was the company was specialized in creating miniature planes, so he was like who created or made or constructed miniature planes. Then they made wings, then they construct wings, right? So ultimately they constructed wings. So ultimately what happened is, if you are going for the fill up the blanks, understand the synonym parts very well, because with the help of reading the sentences before and after the blank and matching this reading part to the paragraph part will help you to fetch out a common word or one word from that sentence, that what could be the word we can have from here. So please students, be aware of the thing. And moreover, one important thing I want to say, that do not afraid, please do not be like I am not able to do this, reading is not my cup of tea. It is not like that. Go with it, follow the things, always read carefully, read the instructions carefully. But everything we can follow, but one thing I want to say is, go with your English part. Understand that you need to go with your English part. You need to understand this also, that reading is particularly about how to get the understanding of the task. If you understand the task very well, then you can understand the things and you can identify the information. But this understanding is like how you will get your understanding. Improve your English, students. It's very important. Improve your English part, at least up to that extent, so that you can understand the fact of getting the understanding, the lucidity of that. Everything is very easy if you understand that paragraph very well. First, don't get panicked by looking at the whole paragraph, because I told you earlier, if you want to understand this thing, details of that, look at my starting, the initial part of this presentation. I made you this happen, that please read the paragraph properly. Go for skimming, go for scanning, go for the part that is very important by reading reading is nothing but, reading is all about understanding, that's it. So it's important, read properly, understand properly. Don't go for the vocabulary, always go for the ideas, the crux. Okay, so I hope this presentation is useful to you, and it would be good if you ask us more questions about reading. It would be very grateful to us that we are able to help you out. So thank you. We'll be back with more sessions. Bye bye.